ሰኞ ሚያዝያ 17 2008 ዓመተ ምህረት በኢትዮ ጃዝ አባት ሙላቱ አስታጥቄ አማካይነት በአፍሪካ ጃዝ መንደር በተዘጋጀው አቀባበል ላይ የአዋሽ ወይን የቦርድ አባል የሆኑት ሰር ቦብ ጊልዶፍ የአዋሽን የገበታ ፕሪሚየም ስብስቦች የቀመሱ ሲሆን በአዋሽ ተከሽኖ ዘመቻ አማካይነት የአዋሽ ብራንድ ምርትን አሻሽሎ ለማቅረብ ያለውን አዲስ እቅድ አስታውቀዋል። አቀባበሉን ሚኒስትሮች፣ ዲፕሎማቶችና ወሳኝ የንግዱ ማህበረሰብ አባላት ታድመውበታል። ሰር ቦብ ጊልዶፍ አዋሽ ወደ ግል ይዞታ ከተዘዋወረ ጀምሮ ያለውን ሁኔታ እንዲህ ሲሉ ተናግረዋል።
About 7 years ago, I was having a drink with him, and he said, the new revolution now is economic growth. He said, you must start talking about this country as the country of opportunity. And I said, I'm a pop singer, you know. I can talk about the people here. I can talk about the dynamism. I can talk about the natural wealth of the talent and the countryside. But I don't even like finance. I don't understand it. And he said, look, the world is beginning to come here, and we need other people to talk about it. And the best way to talk about anything is to do it and to prove the model. And for those people who are hesitant, it's okay to be a giant multinational. It's okay to be a Diageo or a Heineken or whatever and come and just sit in a country and make it work for you. But it's another thing to look at the middle level of an economy, because that's where the growth of a country happens. A giant international can just walk away when the costs or the impediments are too great. But if you're a middle level company and investment, then you must stay, because you don't have an option. You must stay for the hard times and the good times. And I began to learn this because I met with some people who shared my idea of what we could do, and luckily they're all financial people. They became excited and they came down to Ethiopia and they saw the prospects. And most of 8 Miles are Africans, native Africans. And they started talking about their own countries and where they grew up. And so we went around the world during the crisis, counterintuitive, counter-cyclical, and we raised a few $100 million. And I could come back to Melez and say that now we were ready to come to Ethiopia. And I explained to him, like Mullah just explained to you, why we called it 8 Miles. Because the distance between the poorest continent in the world still and the wealthiest continent in the world still is 8 small miles. Now that's part of the asymmetry of the 21st century. But it is also in that tiny gap where all our baleful past lies and all our future hopeful opportunities. Europe has always traded with Africa. And in the bad days of the 80s, I would talk to governments about the fact that African countries must grow economically or their people will come to us for a better life. I'm an immigrant. I left Ireland. There was no opportunity. And England allowed me to grow. Now young Africans are leaving and going to Europe and trying to grow. If you want to stop this, you must give the young Africans I saw in Mekelle University 2 days ago with these brilliant minds, you must give them an economy into which they can contribute that genius. But here, and 8 Miles invests in other African countries, here we invested in this amazing traditional company with foundational employees who were proud of what they'd done, who wanted to continue that tradition and still grow into more excellence. And so with the money we brought, and that's all we brought, and skills about the modern economy, with modern management from outside, But in 2.5 years, as we said we would, we have replaced that management with pure Ethiopian management, except for our brilliant CEO, and we've doubled the workforce in Awash Wineries. And I'm really proud of that, because that's what I started off to do 30 years ago on this long journey. But while we celebrate the growth of Awash, and we're up 25% on this year already, and while we celebrate the growth of Ethiopia, I've just returned again from the north in Mekelle and Korem and Sokoto, and while I'm thrilled to see the roads and the electricity and the telecommunications, which has radicalized the prospects of Mekelle, it's still looking very iffy for at least 10 million of your farmers. And while we can all enjoy this amazing club and this amazing music and the success of the business people of Addis and the foreigners who've come here to trade and do business, we can all enjoy that. We still have to remember your countrymen who are going to bed hungry tonight. And that's the point about growth. That's the point about bringing money here to grow these great companies like Awash and the beef company we have further south, Verde Beef. That's the point. The point is to make money. And sometimes for government that sounds like a dirty word because they come from a different background. But Meles understood it because he was a great economist. And while he started off, yes, as an Albanian Marxist, because when I met him in Tigray in the caves, when he was fighting his war, there was a picture of Enver Hoxha, the worst prick in the world, on his wall. But he understood what was necessary. And while we here can generate growth and revenue, we create taxable income. And the government can collect that tax and give benefit back to the people. And so we won't be worried, as the British ambassador here tonight is, or the Irish ambassador was at lunchtime. We won't be worried about what might happen to those 10 million people as the world looks away to other crises, more frightening perhaps. And these 10 million people won't get our attention. They're not in our minds tonight. We're here to drink this drink. We're here to listen to genius music. We're here to celebrate the activism of the population. But we should never forget, ever, what your brilliant countrymen in the north are going through. And it's only through specific economic growth that finally this cycle of deprivation will stop. And therefore everybody in this room, the business people of Ethiopia, the foreigners here who are conducting their business, that's what it's meant to be about. That's the whole point of growth, is to spread the wealth around. And I am very proud that the people in 8 Miles, my partners, and Mullah here in Awash and other businesses we do, that is central to the logic of what we are doing. I will continue to speak for those people in the north, continue to speak to governments about it, but I will equally continue to speak about this incredible country, its amazing opportunity, and its incredible trajectory of growth. So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us in this celebration.
የአዋሽ ተከሽኖ ዘመቻን በቀጣዩ ወር ለመጀመር የታቀደ ሲሆን በአዲሱና በተሻሻለው በተጠቃሚዎች ተመራጭ በሆነው የአዋሽ ወይን ትውውቅ ይታጀባል። ዘመቻው የአዋሽ ወይንን የመደባለቅ ባህል እያከበረና በአዲሱ የአዋሽ ኮክቴሎች ፈጠራ በማበረታታት እንዲሁም ገበያው የራሱን ፈጠራ እንዲያደርግ እድሉን በመስጠት ወደ ቀጣዩ ደረጃ ያሳድገዋል ተብሎ ይጠበቃል። ከ3 ዓመት በፊት አዋሽ ወይን ወደ ግል ይዞታ ተዘዋውሮ በአፍሪካ እድገት ላይ ካተኮረው የግል የገንዘብ ምንጭ በሆነው 8 ማይልስ ኤልኤልፒ እና ሙሉጌታ ተስፋ ኪሮስ ባለቤትነት ስር ይገኛል። አዋሽ ወይን በአዲሱ አመራር ስር ጥራትን ለማረጋገጥና መሳሪያዎችን ለማሻሻል እንዲረዳ ከፍተኛ ወጪ ፈሰስ አድርጓል። አዋሽ ወይን ከ500 በላይ የሆኑ ቋሚ ሰራተኞችን ቀጥሮ በስሩ ያስተዳድራል። በመጨረሻም ቦብ ጊልዶፍ ከቀድሞው ጠቅላይ ሚኒስትር መለስ ዜናዊ ጋር የነበራቸውን ጥብቅ ወዳጅነት እንዲህ ብለው ገልጸውታል።
Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm speaking to you in the unlikely role of being the chairman of the 8 Miles Private Equity Fund, and with Mulugeta, the proud owners of the oldest wine-making business in this wine-drinking country of Ethiopia. I was a friend of the maker of modern Ethiopia, Prime Minister Meles. I'd known him for almost 30 years, and he used to call me crazy Irish, and I called him an Albanian Marxist. And so we got along very well together.
በቸር ያሰንብተን።